Isn't that just a cool sound?
A groovy way to come back to the
Yes.
Heel of the Face podcast. It's Brandon Icebreaker Clements. You can find him on Twitter at Icebreaker21. I'm Jared Wicks. That's exactly where you can find me on Twitter and Instagram if you have that kind of social media. And most importantly, though, follow the program only on Twitter at Heel to the Face. We're about to do our social media SmackDown segment of the week. That's where we have our tweets of the week and our Twitter question of the week. So without further ado, let's get this week's version of that underway. So we got two Twitter questions of the week because we didn't acknowledge the one from last week. So let's get to that one first. And it's I've read rumors that WWE is going to do like a tier system with their pricing. Right now it's $9.99 if you haven't caught on. They've toned that down a little bit, but obviously when the network started 3 years or 4 years ago now, that was beat into your head that it was $9.99. They even sold T-shirts. Don't know who bought those T-shirts. I guess the person who has everything would buy that shirt.
Yes.
But WWE has thought about in the new year in 2019 to do a tier system. It would actually have a lower price tier to $4.99, and what that would be is I don't know if it would be all pay-per-views, but it would be pretty much solely just live content. You'd only be able to watch the network live. Stuff wouldn't be archived, meaning if you didn't catch a pay-per-view like Super Showdown live,
Good luck.
you didn't have access to it. $9.99 would be the current format you have now. Pretty much everything that you have now. Live, archive stuff, the same network that you're used to. And then there'd be $14.99, which would be $5 more additional dollars, which would have more stuff than they have now. WWE has access to a lot of independent wrestling that they haven't put on WWE Network yet. They put WCW, WWE, but they haven't put a lot of indie wrestling. They haven't put a lot of truly outside stuff. And I think the outside stuff, too, a big thing of that would be maybe like live stuff. Live indie wrestling that they have access to. And I've heard rumors of putting on house shows live.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
So that might be like $14.99 putting on like WWE Network would have that MSG exclusive. That might be like a once a week thing. Putting a camera in a house show kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to come to Syracuse and do that.
Well, why not? They would. I don't think that it would be a network exclusive. But I think it would be like a regular thing. Like they might put all three house shows for that weekend.
Here's my thing, though.
On the network.
If you did the house show, especially in Syracuse, would that deter some people just to stay home and watch it instead of going to the arena?
No. And you know why I say no? Because what gets them to go there now?
They just want to see the guys in person, I guess.
Yeah.
The guys and gals in person.
I mean, Monday Night Raw doesn't deter people from going to house shows. That you can just watch it.
I would, if being a spoiled wrestling fan, I'm not going
because I don't go to house shows anyways because of that fact. So if they're on television, to be honest with you, I'm probably not watching them and or attending them.
Yeah, I'm spoiled ever since I went to like my first Raw and SmackDown. That's it.
House shows are like PreSeason Sports. I mean,
that's exactly correct.
Yeah, so
that's how it is.
Yeah, so I don't think putting a preseason New York Giants or Buffalo Bills game on TV is going to deter people from going, because the type of person who is going to go to a preseason game is the type of person that wants to see it live and doesn't have access to it like everybody else.
I know a lot of people I mean, obviously, I don't think a lot of people are going to drive 2.5 hours to Buffalo from here.
Well, no, that's why these preseason games are either in unique venues where they don't normally come, so it's like a treat, like an NBA game coming to Syracuse. Or if there's a preseason football game in Buffalo, they don't sell out because it's solely just people in Buffalo going. It's like it's a solely Buffalo.
Yeah, it's like
game.
If you're within a short drive.
Yeah, it's like their team. So the people who would drive far, or fly in, or do any of that stuff for a regular season game don't. And I think that's the same for house shows. I've driven and flown across this country for WWE events, but literally as of this recording, tomorrow night there's a WWE house show in Syracuse. I just found out the other day. I've heard about it, but then I forgot because I knew I was never going. And I'm not going tomorrow. And it's not because I'm busy. It's because I was never planning on going. And I wasn't going to go. So that's kind of the same for preseason sports. A regular season New York Giants game, as a New York Giants fan, I would drive to Cleveland. A preseason New York Giants game in my backyard, might be the only reason I would go, is because it's in my backyard.
Yeah, it's
so
like
that's what house shows are.
Yeah, I mean, I know some people that are going. I have a lot of wrestling fans.
But because
it's
here.
It's here. They're like,
I've never been to a house show not in Syracuse, and I never will.
Here's my thing, and I'll say this like this, and I'm not saying it like to stick my nose up at some people, but once you go to a Raw or SmackDown, or I mean, you've gone to everything. I don't ever want to go to a live show again. Like I don't want to go to a live event. I don't want to go to something that has no storylines.
I'm not against going. I've
If it's free,
gone,
I'll go. But
free or cheap tickets, and because it's local and it doesn't really invest time. Like, okay, what am I doing? Like if I was home not doing anything and tickets were $10, which sometimes they are for house shows, and because they're in smaller venues, so example, a $10 ticket might actually be a pretty good seat in a place like the War Memorial versus a $50 ticket for Raw.
Where are you working? You're not working tomorrow night?
I will be working at the radio station, so I'm not going to go. But
I think I'm off tomorrow night, but I'm not going because
you're not going.
No, I'm just gonna.
But I've gone before. On a spur of the moment, like, hey, I'm not doing anything else. Let's go because there's some buy one get one free ticket deal or something like that.
Or they just give it to you at the radio station.
But the question is,
always cool.
Which of these would you pay for? 29% of us said they would bump up to the $14.99. They're interested in having, what's $14.99? Not much. They love the network as it is. And if it means they're going to get more and the price isn't just going to go up to $14.99, but it means like you get to actually choose, meaning like Netflix isn't raising their price just to raise their price. WWE is not going to raise the price to raise the price. They're going to give you more. So you're voluntarily doing it. 29% said they would. 14% said they would drop down. And I know a lot of these people actually. The $4.99 thing is more kind of because I won't lie, I really just watch it for the pay-per-views. So
yeah.
I might be somebody who might drop down to the $4.99 and just watch the pay-per-views. I don't need to keep watching SummerSlam 92 over and over again. Save $5 and still get exactly what I want out of it. And then the majority, 57%, said they're going to stay right where they are. Where are you at, Brandon?
Right at I'm at $9.99. I'm happy. The price.
Why rock the boat?
Yeah, I like it where it's at. Plus here's my thing. I don't always watch pay-per-views live. I'll sometimes wait like a half an hour or an hour before, after it starts, just so I can fast forward through some of the garbage.
See, I don't always watch pay-per-views live. I mean, I always watch pay-per-views live. That's actually incorrect. I watch pay-per-views live, but, there is some stuff, some network exclusive, the 24s, the 365s, the table for three.
I like
that
the table
kind of
for
stuff.
three.
I might pay the extra $5 a month for.
I would. I like watching the table for three. I like watching the ride along. Those are cool.
And I don't watch those live. Those come out. Those I definitely don't watch live because they come out at the worst time. They come out after a pay-per-view, which ends at 11:30, or after Raw.
Yeah, that's not. No, it's
so
not.
Those, yeah, I'm not watching those live.
I have to say like it's poor booking. It really is. Like why have a broadcast you're promoting? Oh yeah, so like we all stay up till 11 o'clock and we have to work the next day.
It's different on the West Coast, maybe. I mean, look at it like this.
Yeah, that's
the
true.
most coveted spot in television is after the Super Bowl. They have like sometimes they debut shows or new episodes or new seasons start, which on the East Coast doesn't make much sense because the Super Bowl, I mean, it ends at like 9:30, 10 o'clock, but it's got the longest post game that there is. So
you talk about the same stuff 7 times.
Yeah, so the post game doesn't get over to like 10:45, 11 o'clock.
I'm not staying up past 11.
Yeah, they're debuting a new show after the Super Bowl, but that's the most coveted time slot. Which is, and you think too, like, it's not like Sunday when the football game ends and it's on at 8. Like, no, the Super Bowl is one of those, because I've gone to a lot of Super Bowl parties where I'll stay to the end and I'll even take my time saying goodbye to everybody at the Super Bowl. I'll get home. I'll drive home. It might be a 20-minute drive. I'll turn on the TV and there's still, like, the stadium's empty. The confetti's all fallen. Nobody's around. And they're still like, for the final time, let's show you this highlight. And you're like, how? I don't understand why it's so coveted to have a show on after this if you're going to have the longest post game. To the point that people are going to actually tune out before the post game's over.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So that's why I don't understand. I think if you were to do stuff, you should do it beforehand. The most coveted time slot in TV and on the WWE Network should be before the show. They should debut new shows at 6 o'clock instead of 11 o'clock. But regardless, most of the people want to stay 99 and say don't rock the boat. Now, obviously, we move on to our second Twitter question of the week, where this week we saw the return of D-Generation X. If you're not down with them, they got 2 words for you. And it's kind of interesting that we saw the return of D-Generation X because they are about to head to Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia is a place, well, as you know, there will not be any women on the card. And when it comes to the event itself, there'll probably be a nice break in the middle so that everybody has their designated time to pray. So it's unique to me that D-Generation X, the Attitude Era's finest, the inventors of the crotch chop and the sellers of the T-shirts that said "Suck It," which made it so that a lot of kids couldn't watch wrestling in the 90s because it wasn't that parents were against the wrestling. It was against the vulgarity. So the most vulgar group, I guess, in WWE history, I guess, people you put on the pedestal of what the Attitude Era was,
they were notorious.
With Stone Cold Steve Austin, will be heading to Saudi Arabia as DX. So do you expect the DX that we've always expected. Obviously, they've been toned down since their more recent runs, with Shawn Michaels being a born-again Christian and not having the whole group. But do you see, for example, no suck? It's no I understand they don't even really say suck it anymore, but they still give the indication to the crowd. Do you see them saying, not even acknowledging that, not saying I got 2 words for you and they let you do it, just pretty much dropping that and not doing crotch chops?
No, I think they'll still do. I think they're going to be normal.
You think they're going to be normal?
Yeah.
40% of the vote said normal. 60% said a toned down DX.
I don't.
Down more than
what's
they've already.
What's the point of bringing DX back if you're not going to have the full DX?
I don't know, but I'm aware of Saudi Arabia's.
Well, here's my thing
going on here, and
here's my thing with Saudi Arabia.
I would cringe if I see them do a crotch chop in Saudi Arabia. Maybe that's why I would want to watch this live, because if I see somebody do a crotch chop, or I see a bunch of people in the crowd, here's the thing: if they say I got 2 words for you and they hold the microphone up, who's going to be ballsy enough to say suck it? Because I mean, this is a country where you're judged. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, raise your hand here if you don't believe in God. You know, that's not a place where I would raise my hand.
Openly do that.
Yeah.
I don't. Here's my thing. I don't think they're going to change their stick. I think it's going to be just the way it is.
Well, it'll be very interesting to see.
I'll be watching. Absolutely. I mean, I know we can't have the females on the card, but that's why we have Evolution. So
that is why we do have Evolution. I just find it very interesting that, it'd be like Stone Cold Steve Austin doing his shtick in Saudi Arabia. I mean, it's quite well documented. I mean, like I said, the last trip, no women, and a break period for prayer. So, I mean, with that being said, I'm just very curious if we're going to be seeing any suck-its or crotch chops, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
And,
we'll see how that goes.
We'll move on from our Twitter questions of the week now to our tweets of the week. And that actually kind of leads into my tweet of the week. I'll go first, staying on the Saudi Arabia train. And this is kind of why I don't know if we'll be seeing the crotch chop. So this I became aware of. There's a few tweets out there that kind of highlight this news story. Wade Keller, who works for PW Torch and MMA Torch and is founder of the National Wrestling Hall of Fame journalist, as well as a podcast at Wade Keller. The Wade Keller is his Twitter handle. He made light of this news story, which is currently going on in Saudi Arabia. So there is some rumors of a U.S. journalist being kind of lured in somewhere and being murdered. And Senator Chris Murphy, so this journalist had retweeted this quote from Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut, home of WWE's headquarters, and said it's Turkish allegiance of murder is true, and if this murder is true, if this allegation, I need to learn how to read, this allegation of murder is true, it should represent a fundamental break in our relationship with Saudi Arabia. I believe he's referring to the USA when he says our relationship with Saudi Arabia.
Absolutely.
Maybe. But he then added this could end up being troublesome for WWE's event deal in Saudi Arabia, because obviously if the USA is not dealing with Saudi Arabia, that probably means WWE.
A big U.S. company like WWE.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So
it's possible.
That would be my tweet of the week from Wade Keller. It's not so much his words. It's more or less he's just kind of thrown out a story from the Washington Post, which outlined the abuses of Saudi Arabia's crown prince. And it says the over-the-top crown prince is encouraging lawless venture, and or there's rumors of a murder of a U.S. journalist in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, not good.
So with that being said, you still feel we're going to see crotch chops in Saudi Arabia?
I still do. I still do, because if the Saudis want the show the way it is, then they're just going to have to deal with it. I get the female thing. That's a whole different culture that I am not an expert in. So I stay kind of distant from that. But not that I agree with it, but that's just how it is. But as we turn the page, I'm going to go into my tweet of the week. It's actually from last week, even though we had a last minute cancellation that last week. But we are back, and I have a great tweet. It's from Lloyd, and I like his Twitter handle, Laugh Out Loud Lloyd. So that must be at LOL, pretty much, is what I'm guessing there. His tweet he sent out, and this is regarding Connor from Connor and the Ascension. Mm-hmm. He says Connor's on a roll at the moment. It's like when you change a superstar's attributes all to 99 on a wrestling game. That is so true. Like Connor on that game, he's probably like a 68.
I was hoping that was going to go, which Connor do you think had a better week?
Oh, God. Oh my God.
I tell you what, this is a true story. I want to say this is the funniest thing that's ever happened to me in my life. Now, I was at Dave & Buster's on Saturday night, this past Saturday night, to watch Conor McGregor versus Khabib.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't poke the bear over here.
No.
I'm a big Conor guy, man.
This is nothing. This is a good story. This is a good story. The funniest thing that's ever happened in my whole life, and that's correction. I just never laughed so hard. The place was packed. It was $10 to get in as a cover. So it's more than just the food. It's that you're actually paying to see the fight. So it's more than just, hey, it's free on TV, and you ordered food. Like, we were specifically giving them cash that was unrelated to being at the restaurant, that was solely to watch the fight. There was probably as many people in this place as could be for the fire code. And the place was packed. So the night goes on. Everyone's cheering. It's kind of like being at a sporting event. People are cheering and screaming. The Conor McGregor fight comes on. Everything's going as normal. I don't want to say it was the end of the fight. I want to say this was the third round. The fight was going pretty good. Khabib jumped on top of Conor. And it was one of those, if you watch UFC, it's like you sense the end. And that's it. This is it. Boom. Here we go. It's one of those like bam, 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 they call it kind of things. So he jumps on Conor, goes for the first punch, goes for the second punch. They're ready to call it. He lifts up his hand to go for the punch that you could tell even in split seconds, everyone said, that's it. You could see it in one swoop, the referee was going to grab him, pull him off him kind of thing. Crowd was silent with bated breath. All the TVs go out. All the TVs go out. Signal lost.
What?
Yes.
That's brutal. And you paid $10?
It was here. They line up for the field goal. Here's the snap. Here's the kick. The ball is up. All the TVs go out. I mean, that's what this was.
How quickly did it come back?
Like midway through the next round.
Oh, I would have been.
It was just so funny. If
you pay $10,
I enjoyed the fight. I was there to watch the fight, but at the same time too, to have this happen, it was way more funny to have this happen in my life.
I'll just say it like this:
people left because they're like, "Well, Conor lost," and then some people started watching, and then somebody brought it on their phone that was next to me. They put it on their phone, which made me then stick around because I'm like, I'm going to watch this guy's phone at least. And then it came back on, and we got to see the big controversial ending, the whole thing.
Yes, I will say this.
But
you didn't miss much because
with the round end, and
you didn't miss much.
They didn't call it.
It was literally, and I know a lot of UFC fans. I've been going back and forth with them. Having the conversation. I don't like that style of fighting. I don't like the ground and pound. I want guys to stand up and fight. To me, it was just like it was wrestling. But when Herb Dean, the referee, goes. Let's do something. He's kind of like, let's go. To me, Herb should just stand him up and said, you're going to go. That's why Khabib won, because Khabib is a better ground fighter than Conor. If you watched when they were standing up, Conor was winning. Conor's better but once Conor's on the ground, it's, as a fan.
I had no dog in the fight.
Conor's my guy. Conor's my guy. So watching him on the ground is not good. So and then the whole melee afterwards, which everybody go on YouTube and check that out. But
who hasn't checked that out? Come on now.
You're
already on YouTube watching us, hopefully.
Here's the thing. Dana White, he might have been mad, but you know how much money he's going to make now? I'm just saying.
But either way, regardless of the outcome of the fight, I thought that stuff was in the movies. I thought that's like when you watch a sitcom and they're watching the lottery numbers. They get the first 5 out of 6 and they go for the 6, and then a rat chews out the wire and all the power goes out.
Oh yeah,
that's
pretty good.
It wasn't like it went out in the beginning of the show, in the middle. It went out
at a prime time.
At a prime time when people were like, "Oh my god, here he's in!" Like for the punch, and it's coming down, and it was just, I just laughed my heart. It was just so unexpected. But that's going to do it for this week's Heel to Face podcast. Icebreaker21, you can find him on Twitter. Myself, at Jared Wicks. And most importantly, follow the program, at Heel to the Face. That's our social media smackdown. If you're watching on YouTube, look for our recap of Super Showdown Raw and SmackDown. And if you're listening on the podcast, that's been the show. We will see you